So there's that new high difficulty boss with this definitely not overpowered crystal, which has Sika levels of ANPR, some aggro, and alignment resistance, which means I have to reset every single character's MTL so it goes back to 100%, so that's fun. For phase 1, we are fighting the Eerie Crystal. Flinch and Tumble is okay for interrupting, but it retaliates to stun with a AoE that can kill most of your DPSs. There's the first AoE, which is a red line at the tank. This does not that much damage and inflicts silence. There is these blue AoEs that take quite a while to come down, and once they come down they have spikes which do lethargy. And lastly, there's a large red AoE around the crystal. There's quite a lot of delay which throws off most people for iframing timings, and it does knockback, which is absolute. For phase 2, we have the Evil Crystal Beast. Flinch and Tumble are once again okay, but stun is not okay. For the red AoEs, we have this AoE around the aggro holder, which inflicts flinch. There is another red AoE around the boss, which can do knockback. And lastly, there's a red dash, where the boss will move to the edge of the map first and then dash towards the aggro holder. This one does tumble. For the blue AoEs, it gets a bit complicated because some of them are from the boss and the others are from the quads at the sides of the map. For the ones that I'm pretty sure are from the quads, we have this blue meteor, which is a meteor that comes in and then it will inflict stun, and after the stun it turns into a storm with curse. The other one is this blue rain AoE. So the first hit is fractional and has no alignment, and the final explosion after the end will inflict lethargy. For the AoEs from the boss, we have a small blue AoE that triggers once it does a roar animation, which immediately spawns tornadoes on your character and it does paralysis. There is also a larger blue AoE which triggers not say triggers, but locks in and stops moving after the raw animation, where it does spikes and inflicts fear. There is also a special one. The Evil Crystal Beast moves its hand upwards, takes quite a while, and then brings its paw down, and there is a meteor in the middle that drops down, and then two big sharks would spawn and start spiraling outwards. These inflict Petrify, which will sort of remove you from the fight. So you lose all your aggro, you cannot take damage, and you also cannot move for that duration. If you're an aggro holder and you're tanking this with something that does not have full alignment resistance, you should iframe this so that you don't lose your aggro. And lastly, there are these sharks that spawns from itself. It goes in a straight line in 8 directions. After the first set, there will be a second one which will retarget to where the aggro holder is. So if you're holding aggro, you want to stand in the same spot so it's easier for your DPSs to dodge. The second set will inflict slow, so you can bring evasion as well to remove it for your party. If you're using Asura Aura, one cast is actually enough to iframe both waves of the sharks as long as you stay close enough to the boss. Important thing to note here is that AoEs will carry over between the phases. So for example, if Evil Crystal Beast is midway through doing the Petrify Shark AoE and then you guys go into the next phase, the sharks will still continue to spawn and do their Petrify, so you should pay attention to that. For phase 3, which is pure chaos, we have Black Lixi. For this phase, flinch is okay, and according to Emery on Phantom's Library, you can tumble as long as there's only 2 remaining crystals on the map. There are a few patterns for Black Lixi, so let's start with the one where it moves to the center. The first one after it goes to the center is sharks that go in 8 directions in a straight line, which do curse. At the same time, there are these spinning sharks that spawn around it, and these don't go constantly outwards, they can spiral back in and out. These do absolute overdrive. And lastly, there are 8-way sharks again, which are extremely fast and have high fractional damage. These are also aimed at the tank, so just like the one at Evil Crystal Beast, I recommend you stay at the same direction from the boss as you were when the first wave spawned, so that both go in the same direction and your DPSs can dodge easily. Lixi also has times where it will follow the tank and do auto attacks. These mostly miss for me because I'm playing high agility, but they can sometimes hit and will inflict flinch. And the red AoE on the aggro holder around it will do stun. The important AoE here for Lixi is this red AoE around itself. This signals that the sharks from the crystals are about to come in. The sharks spawn right around the time the red marker disappears. If you're using Asura, you can use it around 2 seconds after the mark appears, and that will be the correct timing to avoid all the shark AoEs. The sharks have absolute knockback and are fractional. Next, when Black Lixi goes to the edge of the map and you see a small blue AoE on the aggro holder, which might be you in this case, it will do this ball spam, which can inflict fear, and once the ball hits the aggro holder or hits the floor, it will spawn a storm with absolute weaken. This fractional damage is extremely high, and if you just stand in it, you're definitely going to die. I recommend using Asura, but Asura itself is not long enough to avoid the entire barrage, so you can also run a little bit. Right after the ball spam, there is a linear dash AoE to the aggro holder. The damage is not high, but it inflicts tumble. If you don't have alignment resistance, this tumble can kill you, because right after the tumble, there is the 8-way fractional sharks. And then for another one, where it goes to the edge of the map, but instead of a small blue AoE, you see big blue AoEs around every party member. This one will be a meteor that turns into spikes. After the first one, there will be second and third meteors spawning for each party member, where it sort of fans out from where the boss was when you casted it. The crystals in Black Lixi's phase do roughly the same AoEs as during the Evil Crystal Beast phase. There are also these red linear AoEs, but they are really thin and they don't track, so it's super easy to just sidestep them, which is what I do. For some general tips and some gimmicks I found out, first off, I recommend everyone bring neural control, since this makes it so you can practically ignore the paralysis alignment. For tanks who especially don't have alignment resistance, I would bring Dominant Warcry to remove fear. Another thing that can help the DPS a lot would be something like Holy Grace, which is a bit of a luxury for them. If you have enough skill points, you can go for it. The thing is, I would recommend cast this once when the fight starts and once before phase 3. Even if your party can kill phase 2 really quickly, you should recast it during phase 2, because phase 3 is way too chaotic to try and recast it. There are so many times I have died to the stun meteors because I was trying to get Holy Grace back up. The timings I find that you might be able to get one out is during Lixi's going to center pattern, but also that should be when the crystals are dead.